today's digital landscape, connectivity is key. Amazon's virtual private cloud Peering enables seamless and secure communication between VPCs within the AWS cloud, fostering a network environment that's robust and flexible. This allows you to delegate your EC2 instances and other processes to certain VPCs based on function while not losing vital connection. This allows for fast, semi-organized connection, and the provisioning of this tool is absolutely free. Setting up these connections is a breeze. With a few clicks in the AWS Management Console, you can link VPCs across different accounts or regions, allowing them to communicate as though they were part of the same network. In today's tutorial, I'm going to demonstrate how to set up cross-region VPC peering connections, although the process is very similar regardless of if you're trying to do it in the same region or cross-account. In today's demonstration, we are going to create two VPCs, one in US West 2 and one in US East 1. We are going to create the subnets, then set up peering connections. After that, we are going to set up routing for the peering connection and then test the peering connection using an EC2 instance in each VPC. We will use ICMP, also known as ping, to test the connection. We will also be using an EC2 Direct Connect endpoint because using regular Direct Connect or SSH is going to be impossible due to these subnets not being public or having an internet gateway or NAT gateway attached to them. I've put a flowchart on the screen in order to visualize how we are going to set up the connection. The first step is to open AWS and navigate to the VPC section. Make sure that it is a region that you want to create your first VPC in. We're going to go ahead and create our VPC. We're going to call the VPC Oregon VPC. Next, we're going to get an IPv4 CIDR of 10.1.0.0 with a CIDR block of 16 so we can classify between the two networks instead of it just being one. Next, we're going to give it a tag so we know what project this is. We're just going to use a tag project and the value peering connection. Now we're going to navigate over to Subnets, and we're going to create a subnet for our VPC. So for the VPC, select Oregon VPC, and then for the My Subnet, we're just going to call it My Subnet. For the availability zone, I selected no preference, just make sure that you're not on a CDN-AZ. And then for the IPv4 CIDR block, the subnet, I would just do the same one, 10.1.0.0.16. and then hit create subnet. We're going to go to the VPC and we're going to check it in the resource map. Just take a look at our subnet, make sure it's linked. And that's our routing table. We're going to do some stuff on that later. Next, we're going to switch on over to North Virginia, US East 1, and we're going to create a VPC. We're going to do a similar setup. We're just going to call it Virginia VPC. And for the IPv4 CIDR block, 10.2.0.0 and the CIDR block of 16. We're going to add our tag, project, and then just peering connection. And then we're going to create the VPC and then go create the subnet. Navigate back over to the subnets, and then create your subnet. We're going to give it the same kind of treatment, just My Subnet, no preference on the AZ. I just put my private, and then we're going to do 10.2.0.0 with the CIDR block of 16 for the subnet CIDR block, and then we're going to create the subnet. Next, we're going to do the peering connections. Next, we're going to go over and create our peering connection. Ignore that error, that's just from me creating it earlier and not finding it. We're just going to call it, my peering connection. I'm going to go ahead and tag it because I like tagging things just early, getting it out of the way. It should pop up now just because we already tagged something with peering connection before. Next, we're going to select the local VPC to peer with. This is the requester. It really doesn't matter who is sending and who is receiving in this instance. It's going to be, bi-directional. So now that we have that out of the way, we can just select the other VPC to peer with. That is our CIDR block, and we're going to select my account for this one. You could do another account. You need the account ID for that. We're going to select another region, and we're going to go for US West, Oregon, US West 2. And then we're going to go and we're going to quickly go grab the VPC ID from Oregon. Sometimes it doesn't let you copy that from there, so you can always just do it from down there. If I could get my cursor around it. And then you go back, you paste that in, and we're ready to create the connection. Next up is to go to Oregon and accept it. These do take a little bit to finish, like initiating, but you can still accept it. After you accept it is when it actually starts initiating. So you go to the Oregon VPC page, go to peering connections, and you accept it from Oregon. Just in actions, and then accept request. And now you see it's processing, and now we can just wait for that to work. In the meantime, let's go set up our routing tables. So select routing tables. I'm actually just going to go hit it from the resource map. Select that routing table, and then you're going to want to expand it. Hit edit route, hit add route, and then you're going to want to type in the CIDR for the North Virginia subnet, so 10.2.0.0 with the CIDR block of 16. And then for the target, find peering connection, should be at the bottom there, and then select the peering connection, and then save changes. Now we have to go do this in Virginia now, so we're going to do the same. We're going to go find the route table. I really don't know why I did this in such a proprietary way. Please forgive me. I'm recording now and a little confused. So go to route table, hit edit routes, and then add another route, and we're going to do 10.1.0.0 with the CIDR block of 16. Make sure you match those CIDR blocks or else it's not going to work, and select the peering connection and hit save changes. Now, effectively, once the peering connection finishes processing, like any traffic going between the two will be able to work because there's routing set up on both sides. So now we can go set up our EC2 instances for testing. Next, we're going to go ahead and make our EC2 instance in Oregon. Doesn't really matter what you named it, I just named it peering connection test. We're using Amazon Linux, and we don't really need a key pair since we're not using SSH. We're going to go edit our network settings. We are going to change the VPC to Oregon VPC. Oh, I closed it. We're going to change that to Oregon VPC. We're going to verify, just look at the bottom, make sure everything in there that you like. We don't really need an assigned public IP. So next we are going to create the security group. We're just going to call this like peering connection security group. And then from there we're going to add a security group rule, all ICMP v4. And you could let the internet have this. which is O.O.O.O.O. That's just kind of signed for the internet. But instead, we're just going to limit this to our IPv4 CIDR for the other subnet, or for the other VPC. So we're going to go look what that is. That's 10.2.0.0. So we're just going to type that in, 10.2.0.0 with a CIDR block of 16. And then we're going to get rid of these. And then for the description, we're just going to put allows Virginia to be able to ping us. And then from there, we could just go ahead and launch our instance. I'm going to go do the same now for North Virginia. I'm just going to check that it's there. I'll speed this process up, but we're essentially just going to do the same thing. We're going to go ahead and do our security group now. We're just going to call it my peering connection security group again. We're going to add a security group rule, all ICMPv4, but we do have to do this a little differently. This time we're using 10.1.0.0 with a CIDR block of 16 instead of 10.2 because we have to allow routing to Oregon instead of North Virginia, since we are adding the routing in North Virginia. So now, you know, we're just going to go look at everything and then we're going to launch it. Now we're going to go to EC2 Instance Connect, and then we're going to go create an endpoint. I was just messing around. We're going to go create an endpoint. And then we're going to select EC2 Instance Endpoint up at the top. And then Oregon VPC. And then we're going to select our security groups. I don't know why I selected both, but I did. Then we selected our subnet, and then we're going to add our project tag. Now we have to use this because our subnet is not public, therefore like direct connect and other stuff is not going to work. Make sure you go create it for North Virginia. That's what I'm doing in this time lapse. And now we have to play the waiting game of waiting for these to initialize. As you can see at the bottom and on the side in the status, it says pending. After a little bit, I came back and took a little look and saw that it was now available. I went and checked the other one and it wasn't available yet, but by the time I finished testing Oregon, the North Virginia Direct Connect endpoint was finished. So I decided just to, double check and verify my security groups, just make sure everything was set for testing, and everything looked good there. And then I connected. I selected my endpoint, verified everything, because it does provide some information at the bottom. And then I established my connection, and then I pinged North Virginia. And as you see, we're getting a response, meaning that the peering connection is working. And then I went over to go check, because the North Virginia one should have been done by then, and it was. So I went and grabbed Oregon's IP. And then I pinged it from Virginia. And just like that, we're getting a response, meaning that on both ends, the peering connection does work. And then from there, I shut everything down, and then the cleaning process started. Make sure that you always terminate your instances after you're done using them, especially when you're learning like this, so you don't rack up a bill. I was just kind of verifying that mine were shutting down, and then I went and terminated all of them and deleted the VPCs. And thank you guys for watching. That was the tutorial. I'm a little bit new to the content creation process, so forgive kind of the junkiness of this video. I just have a passion for AWS, specifically networking in AWS, and I thought I'd share it with the world. So you guys have a good day.